In the last year, I've made around $500,000, with most of that being profit at just 21 years old. And that's with me only working a few hours per day. I probably work like 4 hours per day. And I'm not telling you that to brag or flex. I'm telling you that because for so much of my childhood, I was consumed by anxiety. I knew I wanted this life and I wanted to achieve freedom, but I would overthink every possible scenario. I would ruminate on the what ifs and the worst case scenarios, like what if a potential client rejects me, or what if I get rejected by my friends because they think I'm weird for pursuing my goals or my dreams, or what if I fail and I have to get a job for the rest of my life. And this prevented me from taking action. These negative emotions, fear, anxiety, overthinking, it stopped me from doing what I needed to achieve this life. And I'm going to help you in this video, and I believe you came across this video for a reason. I believe you saw it on your algorithm on your homepage, on YouTube, you clicked on it, and now me and you are talking for a reason. And I believe I can really change your life with the information I'm going to share in this video, and I'm going to make it quick. So there are 3 things you need to overcome these negative emotions. I'm just going to explain it to you, just like we're having a conversation. But the first thing I need you to understand is that these negative emotions, fear, anxiety, overthinking, are completely normal. It is social survival. Think about it from the perspective of you 100,000 years ago, when we were in tribes as humans, and you getting rejected by that tribe would mean that you would starve and then potentially die. So it's wired, it's ingrained into us that we want people to like us. But in 2025, moving into 2026, this is holding you back. This is preventing you, and these, thoughts need to be rewired, basically. Your nervous system needs to be rewired. And that's what I'm going to explain a bit in this video. So let's jump into the first point, which is going to be awareness, education, and seeing the evolutionary lens clearly. You know that feeling when you get a bit of anxiety, your palms are a bit sweaty, your heart's beating a bit quicker than it should, and overall you just have a bit of adrenaline. Maybe it could be you doing sales calls, maybe it could be you creating content. And the first step to overcoming this is just simply being aware and educating yourself on why this is happening. And long story short, it is just your caveman self trying to protect you. Now imagine you're trying to do what I'm doing, recording content. Maybe you sit down, you're in front of the camera, your heart is beating a bit quicker than usual. And you need to understand why this is happening, first and foremost, to solve any problem. Why? What is the cause of this? And it's simply because your nervous system, which is 500 million years old, does not know the difference between you being watched by a tiger or you being watched by strangers online. And you probably have these fears like, what if I look stupid? What if some people comment and give me hate? And this creates a bit of anxiety, and then your nervous system simply responds back to that anxiety, thinking, oh, something must be wrong, he's anxious, when in reality, nothing is wrong. Your brain just needs to be rewired, and you need different perspectives, and that's what I'm going to explain if you keep watching. But as I said, the first step is just awareness. And now you should know that your nervous system is just outdated. It's not 100,000 years ago anymore, where we needed our nervous system to survive. We don't need the fight or flight and the sympathetic nervous system to respond as much in the modern day, because we're not being hunted by predators. And one of the reasons why we do overthink is because it is better to be in that state of, cortisol and high alertness 100,000 years ago, because you not being in that state could mean that you get eaten or killed. That's why we naturally do overthink. And that is the very first step, is just awareness and educating yourself on why we are getting these emotions and why we overthink, why we have anxiety. And in fact, there's nothing wrong with this. It's doing its job. It's doing what it's meant to do. And when you believe this and understand this, it will go away over time, because we are creating distance from you and the symptoms. So step 2 to overcoming negative emotions when starting entrepreneurship is that repetition creates evidence, and evidence helps the nervous system be regulated. So you have to understand that you can't just tell your body and your brain to be safe. You can't just say, oh, I'm in a safe place, I'm in a nice, apartment, everything's good, I've got a roof over my head, I've got food. It doesn't work like that. You have to show it physically. And in my opinion, the best way to overcome anxiety or fear is through evidence. It needs kind of tangible proof that you are safe. And that's where evidence and concrete data comes into play. Because when you do enough volume of an activity, you won't get the same adrenal kind of response that you would when you're first starting, where you do feel a bit of that nervous energy, because you've done it once, your body has survived, you've survived, and that enforces or reinforces a loop, a positive loop. And over a period of time, you just won't get any of the same negative emotions. But what this means is that starting is the absolute hardest point that you'll ever be in, because you probably don't have the credibility, the social proof, the confidence, and the clarity on what you're actually doing. Therefore, of course, you're going to be a bit nervous. But as soon as you take action and you actually jump into it, everything becomes easier. Just a quick story for you. When I first started, I would try and perfect the perfect cold message to prospects in the DMs. I would watch YouTube videos and I would not do the work, but I would try and get the perfect message to get clients. And that just held me back for like 6 months. It was dumb, when in reality, your perfectionism is killing you more quickly than any imperfection you could possibly have. I don't really care if you have little confidence, or if you don't think you're good enough for X, Y, Z, or you're not really sure what you're doing. You just have to take the first step. Don't try and look too far into the future. Just focus on what you're doing today, on the inputs you need to do, because you don't learn to swim from reading books. You learn to swim by getting in the water. And it is going to be scary. It's going to be uncomfortable. But that's the beautiful part about it, because it means you're growing. If your day is easy, your future is probably going to be hard. And if your day is hard, your future is probably going to be easy. It works in that way with everything. And once you understand that, you can kind of create a bit of gratitude for these emotions, because it means you're growing. It means you're rewiring your brain and you're going to go through this period of your life that you haven't been before. And that obviously will create certain emotions, but it means you're growing, which is great. So congratulations, and just be grateful for the fact that you are getting these emotions. And that's another way to really dim them down. So step number 3 is the mirror principle and perspective. So when someone insults you, when someone throws negativity at you, they're not describing you. They are describing their own self, their insecurities, their trauma. That is what they are portraying on you. A simple projection of themselves and how they see themselves. If someone calls you stupid, lazy, or a certain word, it usually says more about their own insecurities than it does yours. You should feel sorry for them. Imagine you're going to the grocery store and the cashier is rude and she doesn't say, or he doesn't say hi, or whatever it may be, doesn't speak at all. You don't be negative towards them. You kind of feel sorry for them. You want to be empathetic. So, and it's the same in the business world. A millionaire is never going to judge a beginner for wanting to be a millionaire or starting. It doesn't happen. It's always people who are in a worse place that give you insults and so forth. So this concept of being rejected, which I explained, is just social survival and you wanting to be liked by tribes. This can really help you understand the fact that even if you do get rejected, which is so unlikely to the point where you get insulted, it's just a mirror of their own self. And hopefully this makes sense and has helped you a little bit. So just to recap, the 3 things that you need to stop overthinking and just get started with whatever you need to is awareness, education, and seeing the evolutionary lens and how we're wired for evolutionary psychology in this way, in terms of social survival and our nervous system being outdated and so forth. Number 2 is going to be that repetition creates evidence, and then evidence calms the nervous system. And then number 3, which is the final one, which I just explained, is the mirror principle. And clearly seeing that if someone insults you, rejects you, which is unlikely because we always suffer more in imagination than in reality anyway, but if someone does, then it's simply because they are not having a good day. They've got insecurities, they've got trauma, they've got bad things happening that portray or make them portray just their inner world, essentially, or their ego. So that is something that's really important to take into consideration to hopefully not make you as scared. And we're all living in our own world. No one really cares what you're doing. It's your life. You have these goals in your head. You have these visions that you can clearly see for a better life. And that's for a reason. You're meant to pursue this. And I wish you all the best. Please get started. It's your life. You only get one of it. So yeah, make it happen and just enjoy the process.